We're live. Welcome back. Justin R. Harris here. Business solutions. Every scenario you can think of being solved based on the teachings of Peter F. Drucker in the Daily Drucker. Once again, go get it. Amazing read. Jumping right in right now. Not wasting any time. It is a late one. 2 days in a row. Long days. Got to keep business going. But we don't stop. Every single day, we're going to bang these out. This one is defining quality in knowledge work. Okay. Now, measuring quality in knowledge work sounds formidable. In practice, however, it defines itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the scenarios that they give here. And it's interesting the comparison that they give, because in this comparison, they compare schools. And it can raise quite a few debates. Let's get into it. In some knowledge work, and especially in some work requiring a high degree of knowledge, we already measure quality. Surgeons, for instance, are routinely measured by their success rates in difficult and dangerous procedures, for example, by the survival rates of their open heart surgical patients. Okay? But, and by large, we have so far mainly judgments rather than measurements regarding the quality of a great deal of knowledge work. The main trouble is, however, not the difficulty of measuring quality. It is a difficulty in defining what the task is and what it should be. Right? All right. So the best example is American school. Public schools in the American inner city have become disaster areas, and for a large part, right? And for one reason or another, which we're not going to get into those details. We're going to kind of cover it in a catch-all. But next to them, in the same location and serving the same kinds of children, that is probably vaguely stated, are private schools in which the kids behave well and learn well, right? There is endless speculation to explain these enormous quality difference, right? So that's where he's trying to explain. There are speculations as to the different qualities, but we're not going to dig into that. But a major reason is surely, okay, that the two kinds of schools define their tasks differently. That I largely believe. And then if we really get into it, a lot of it has to do with funding. Okay. The typical public school defines its task as helping the underprivileged. The typical private school define their task as enabling those who want to learn to learn. One, therefore, is governed by its scholastic failures. The other is governed by its scholastic successes. Define the quality of your job. So that's an interesting one, because the quality measure in that comparison really gets political in that sense. And then that's where you have to ask yourself. Most people, when they're in their jobs, you know, they talk about the politics that are involved in their jobs, right? And there's a lot of politics at play, especially in corporations or larger companies that own several locations, and now there's an HR department and different hierarchies, right? So things like the quality of work and management and so forth have to be measured and governed accordingly. Otherwise, you know, there's mismanagement and there's upset and disgruntled people and so forth. So you really have to think about that when you're looking at your company and you're dealing with what we talk about now, the millennialpreneurs, right? And how we measure their quality of knowledge-based work. And what does that mean? Like the other conversation we had, where we were basically quantifying their work to be able to say what the value of that work is, and them being paid based on that product, right? So there's a lot to dig in there. You tell me what you think. Let's get real deep on that. Have a great evening. See you guys.